Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in AI buzzwords? You hear agents, assistants, and bots thrown around all the time, sometimes like they're the exact same thing. But are they? Well, in this explainer, we're going to slice through all that confusion. So just think for a second about the automation you use every single day. Can you say for sure if you're dealing with an agent, an assistant, or a bot? It's actually trickier than it sounds. And the difference is, they matter a whole lot more than you might think. Okay, let's get into it.
And this quote right here from our source material it hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This whole blurring of the lines, it isn't just confusing for us, as users. It's a massive challenge for companies trying to figure out which tool is the right one for the job. So our goal today is to make those lines sharp and clear for you.
Here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll talk about why it's all so confusing in the first place. Then, we'll properly introduce our three main players. The real light bulb moment is going to come when we put them on what we call the spectrum of autonomy. After that, we'll get super practical about how to choose the right one, and then we'll wrap up with a little peek into the future.
So why does any of this even matter? Well, because picking the right kind of automation is absolutely crucial. If you get it right, you can unlock some frankly incredible efficiency and innovation. But if you get it wrong, well, that can mean a whole lot of wasted time and money. So yeah, understanding these differences is step one to making a really smart choice.
All right, let's meet the cast. We're going to start with the most common, the simplest of the three, and then we're going to build our way up from there. First up, we have the bot. The easiest way to think of a bot is as a dedicated rule follower. It works off a very strict script, a set of pre-programmed rules. It's fantastic for those simple, repetitive tasks. The classic example is that customer service chatbot that just answers the same questions over and over again by following a script. It's super efficient, but it's not really thinking for itself.
Okay, next level up, the AI assistant. This is your collaborator. Think Siri, think Alexa. Assistants get what you're saying in plain English, and they can handle more complex stuff, like helping you plan a whole trip. But, and this is the important part, they usually work with you and need you to give the final okay before they do something big, like actually booking that flight. They suggest, they help out, but you're still the one in the driver's seat.
And that brings us to the AI agent, the autonomous actor. Now, this is where things get really, really interesting. An agent doesn't just follow a script or wait for your permission. Nope. It looks at its environment. It sets its own goals, often multi-step goals. It makes a plan, and it changes that plan if it needs to, all by itself. A trading algorithm that just buys and sells stocks based on what the market is doing, that's a perfect example. It's running the show on its own to hit a target. So, the one key thing that really separates these three is not just what they can do, but how much they can do on their own. This is what we call the spectrum of autonomy, and honestly, it's the most important idea for telling them apart. Let's just look at the two extremes for a second. On one end, you've got bots, right? Super low autonomy. They can't stray from their script any more than a train can jump off its tracks. Then, on the complete other side of the universe, you've got AI agents with crazy high autonomy. They can handle complex situations for a long, long time without any human holding their hand. They're really the two opposite poles of this automation world. And this table right here, this is where it all just clicks. Look at how the AI assistant slots right into that middle ground. While a bot has low autonomy and really basic reasoning, and an agent has super high autonomy and can do advanced planning, the assistant is the bridge between them. This chart lays it all out, showing how each one has its own unique spot based on how well it can learn, reason, and adapt. Okay, so we've got the theory down. Now let's make it real. How do you actually figure out which of these AI teammates is the right one for a specific job? It really just comes down to asking four questions. First, how much freedom does it need? Is this a simple follow-the-rules task that's perfect for a bot, or is it something that needs to run on its own for a while, which points to an agent? Second, how complicated are the decisions? Simple yes-no logic? That's a bot. Complex, multi-step planning? You need an agent. Third, does it need to learn and get better on the fly? And last but not least, what's your budget? Because usually, bots are the cheapest and easiest to set up, and agents are the most expensive and complex. So where's this all going? Because this tech is definitely not standing still. The lines that we've just drawn are probably going to keep changing and evolving as we look ahead.
So what's coming up? We're starting to see these multi-agent systems, which are basically teams of specialized AIs that all work together to solve really huge problems. Assistants are becoming multimodal, which is a fancy way of saying they won't just understand your voice, but also what they see through a camera, maybe even your hand gestures. And we're going to see more hybrid systems, where a simple bot handles the easy stuff and then intelligently hands off the hard problems to a much more powerful agent. It's a really fascinating space to watch.
So, if there's one big thing to take away from all of this, it's this. Stop thinking of these as three totally separate things. They're not. Instead, you should see them as different points along a single, powerful spectrum, an automation continuum. From the simplest little script follower to the most advanced autonomous actor, there really is a solution for every single need.
And that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. When you look at your own job, your industry, maybe even just your day-to-day life, which point on this continuum, the simple bot, the helpful assistant, or the independent agent, which one do you think is going to have the biggest impact? The answer to that is going to shape all of our futures. Thanks so much for joining me.